Welcome back to Beauty Marks Podcast, a space where we embrace marks acquired through our journey. My name is Elizabeth Savillon, and thank you for joining me on this week's episode 41. I hope you guys had a great Easter, got to spend time with family, celebrating the resurrection of Jesus, and just remembering what he did for us. It was honestly really, really nice to actually be like in a full service. I haven't been in like a full service on a Sunday in a while, and so it was nice to just be there, with other people and just celebrating. It was really, really nice. But on this week's episode, I really wanted to talk about friendship. I have mentioned little parts of this so many times before on other episodes. Like, I'm going to do an episode on this. I'm going to do an episode. And so I just really want to share my thoughts on friendships and kind of the categories that I put for my friendships in a way. Like, I feel like I've learned a lot in friendships because of my upbringing. I moved around a lot. I had people consistent in my life, people that weren't consistent in my life. There was times that I had like two best friends. There was times, like I would throw out that word a lot. And I feel like as I've gotten older, I have realized that it's not about how many friends you have. It's not about the quantity of them. It's really the quality of your friendships. And something that I believe is that, life is to be done with other people. Life is not for you to live alone on an island by yourself. It's so you learn to deal with people, to be around people and have that support system, have people that you can do fun stuff with. Friendship is such a blessing when you have the right people around you. So, growing up, that word was so used, like the more friends you have, you were so cool. And when you had best friends, it was like, oh, you're part of my best friends. And, even that takes me back to the days of MySpace for those that I'm aging myself with MySpace. But MySpace, it was like you would pick your top 3 friends, your top 5 friends, and then they would add like more friends. And then you would be checking on there to see if you were on someone's top friends, because you wanted to see how close you were. But that still hasn't, like, when I think about it, I'm like, wait, that's still kind of today. Like in today's day and age, if you're friends with them on social media, then you're like, oh, we're friends, and you can have thousands of friends, you can have hundreds of friends. But the thing is, we count them as friends, right? Like when they're on social media, they're called your friends. But are they really your friends? Like when you really look at your Facebook and your Instagram, how many of those people do you actually know about their life? Like aside from what they post on social media, because that's something else too. People can post on social media what they want you to see. So you only know the perception that they make of about themselves. So in reality, out of my social media, I feel like I like know, meaning like I know stuff aside from what they post online. Like I know like their day to day, or maybe like what's happening currently in their life. A handful of them, and I feel like that's usually a normal adult friendships are like that, because not everyone has that either exposure to you or that space to be able to be so close to you. And so now as I've gotten to an adult, I feel like I'm very careful with using the word best friend, or like, I say close friend or have good friends. Just because I feel like that word can be really thrown around a lot. And I remember I have been hurt in the past because people have told me like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're my best friend. Like, of course, like bestie. And literally, I know nothing more than what they either post on social media, or I know nothing more. Like, I kind of put myself, when someone says, like, you're my best friend, you're like my really good friend, I'm thinking, like, like the good and bad of my life, that's like in my head, And I have gotten hurt in the past, if I'm completely honest, with people that would throw out that word. And I was going through something and they didn't even check up on me. They didn't even know that that was going on. And it's not because I didn't tell them. It was just because they didn't, like, I wasn't one of those people. But just because that word was thrown out there, you kind of think that you have, like you have a closer insight into someone's life. And so that's why I feel like I came up with these categories of friends, as I might say, of what I consider in friendships. I feel like there are fun friends. Fun friends is category number 1. It is a category where you will have a great time with this friend. You will have awesome fun times, like fun activities, but it's very superficial. You're not going to talk about your feelings. You're not really going to share all the deepest darkest secrets here. You're going to keep it very superficial. You're going to keep it social media. Like that's what this kind of friend is. But you have a great time. Like I'm talking about, these are like the really really good time friends. Like we're here for a good time, not a long time. So we're going to hang out with you. Then there's like those tough time friends, tough time friends that you just go to them when you either need prayer or encouragement. If you're a believer, if you feel like these are the people that that you can text them and be like, hey, I'm really going through it. Please pray for me. Hey, this is happening with my mom or my sister. Like, I need some encouragement, and maybe it's not that you talk to them all the time, but it's just those people that like, like they're just like, maybe I would say like those like mentors, those people that you like really can count on in serious moments, and you know that they'll be there for you. The third friends, it's the you don't talk all the time, but when you do, it's amazing. It's those people that like you see probably like once every few years, or you can talk like once a year, and it's like amazing conversations. You've known them for a long time, but that's it. You just like, but like you wish them the best, and they're like over there and you're over here, and you're like, ooh, we're good. um other friends, just acquaintances, people that you like just talk to here and there, you might not see all the time, maybe on social media, you like hit them up through there, like you make small talk, very, very casual conversations, and that's it. But like they're more acquaintances. It's not that they're like your friends, but you still wish them the best. Same thing. All these people, you wish them the best. But and then there's those people that do life with you. So those are the friends that you can talk about pretty much anything. Those are the friends that like will tell you, like cheer you on, but also will like challenge you to like be a better version of you, that will like call you out on your stuff, and that will like know your stuff, like so you'll tell them those deep things about you that other people might not know. Like you can be fully yourself to these people, and those I feel like are always going to be few. Not everyone should have that much access to you, because I also feel like we have to be careful of what opinions and what voices you're listening to. So I feel like that when it comes to friends, you need to limit that and be wise with choosing those kinds of friendships. So it's important, you hear all these cliches, but they're true about, tell me who you surround yourself around and I'll tell you your future, like you're a reflection of the 5 close people that you hang around with the most. And it is important to remember that those people do have an ear to you. Like they do have an influence to you. As much as you think that you can influence others, usually the people that are around you, like if they're on the mindset, making sure that they have the same mindset, values, if you are a goal oriented person, that they also in a way like want to be elevated, they want to grow, I think is very important. I think that knowing the difference between people that are just wanting to know about your life or want to like be a part of your life and like want to, kind of like it's a reciprocal relationship is very, very important. And this is big because especially as I've gotten older, I'm like, I see it and I like, nope, don't like it. It's when people are only, when you talk to them, they're only talking about other people, other people's drama, and they aren't real. And you can just tell, like they just are, they can't have like anything more than a superficial conversation with you. And anything that's not about other people, it's kind of like not important to them, and I feel like if they're talking about other people most of the time, the reality is that they are talking about you too. And especially if they're telling you about other people's deep secrets or dramas or things that other people have confided in them, most likely they're going to do the same to you. So I pick up on that so quick now because I used to be a person that would tell people a lot of stuff about me and would feel like, oh, well, I'm just like a very outgoing, like, I'm a people person, like, to kind of want to be liked too, like I wanted to be liked. So like I wanted, um, to kind of come off like I'm so open, but that came crashing down real quick when people would kind of use information as a way of like trying to um kind of like not like in a way like hurt you, or maybe the intention wasn't the same. Why they wanted to know that information wasn't because they genuinely cared or were going to be there for you. It was because they were just going to talk to someone else about you, or they were just going to tell their people the bochinche that they found out about you. So I have definitely learned that over time because, I think that true friendship is built on vulnerability and openness and being intentional. And I think that you have to be intentional in your relationships, in your true friendships. And I'm talking about like, so that's why I like broke it down of like all the types of different friendships. And I know that there's probably way more, people that you see at church, like people that are you just nice to, but I wouldn't call those people that you're friends with. Friends are usually like more doing life, no more than just the superficial stuff. um and I think that friendship is really built by you being vulnerable about yourself, about what you're going through, where you've been through, and that you are intentional, because any relationship, a friendship is really like a relationship. Like you got to water it, you got to spend time with it, you have to be intentional and follow up about stuff. And sometimes it's hard. I've even found myself that, especially right now, in this time of my life right now, I feel like I just don't really have that much time. And it's not even, and in the beginning, I was feeling super guilty. I was like, man, I need to follow up with this person. I need to follow up with that person. Like, I just like need to like, I haven't seen this person forever. Like, I was feeling super guilty. And that's like my people pleaser and my codependency. It was like kicking in. And I was like, wait a second. Like right now, I just can't. And I can't. So I have to let people know, like, hey, I'm letting you know, like, I will be busy in the next few months and it's not intentional. Like, I want to still catch up with you, like, because for me, quality time is like my love language too, and quality conversation. So, like, I feel loved and I show love by spending time with people or talking to them. But sometimes, like, it's just so hard for me to do when I have a lot of stuff going on. So I had to definitely be open and honest. And I started being like, wait, I have to know my capacity as well. And here's the thing with a friend, which I have learned, which I'm going to go through all the different categories for me of, what a friend should be. Is one of them is really about being understanding. So I feel like friendship should be understanding of what, if you're going through some busy times, and it's like they're understanding to know that it's not a reflection of your friendship. It's just that you guys are, just busy doing your own thing, but you still want the best for each other, you still love each other, you still care for each other, but it's just that time is not allowed like maybe in the past it was. But I think that um friendship should be understanding, of where you're at in life. If I'm focusing on my school or on my career, that's another type of, responsibility. That's another type of friendship. When I'm dating someone, that's a whole nother thing, because it's like the time is split between so many other things. If someone's engaged or married, that's a whole nother, so like, and then if someone has kids, that's a whole nother type of friendship. So I feel like friendships have to be about understanding each other and understanding in what season, and not be like mad if they're not meeting that. It's like you kind of had to adapt. So I did a list of things that I feel are important in friendships. A friendship is someone who sharpens you, which I mentioned before, someone that makes you, that doesn't tell you what you want to hear. A true friend is a person that's going to tell you, hey, like, I'm here for you, I'm listening to you, and if you ask for my advice, I'll tell you. So if you want to just vent, I'm listening to you. But if you're asking me for advice, I'm going to be honest with you. So, like, I'm not going to let you go down that path. Like, what you're doing, like, maybe you shouldn't have acted that way. Or, hey, like, have you thought about it like this? Or, like, hey, maybe like you're being a little negative about this. Or, hey, I see that you have these like patterns, in the past. So, like, is those people that kind of see the bigger picture. It's also important though to know that sometimes some people just want to be heard. So like as a friend, I feel like you have to understand when you're just wanting to vent, or when you're just wanting to be to like find solutions. So like for my friends, I tell them I'm like, hey, like I'm just gonna vent to you, or hey, like I've been just going through this, so I'm just gonna like text you this, or I'm just gonna tell you this, but like that's it. I'm just having a moment. Or I'll be like, hey, I feel this way. I don't know what to do about this. I feel like stuck, or I feel like very confused, or I'm just feeling very overwhelmed. Like, I need some encouragement or something like that. Then I'm like communicating that. And I feel like it's important to communicate with your friends about what you need from them. You can't expect your friends to know what you need. So I feel like you communicating, knowing what you need as a person, as an individual, is super important in your friendships as much as a relationship, because then you're communicating, hey, this is the way that, if like for example, like if I'm going through something and I'm like, hey, like I'm going through this, and I expect someone to show up at my house to like spend time with me because I'm going through it, but I didn't tell them that, and maybe that's not the way that they thought they can be there for me. They thought that by sending me flowers, they were showing me that they cared, or like by texting me, like, hey, I hope you're okay, like sending you hugs is enough. Like, so I feel like you need to communicate that and be clear in your friendship. And I feel like in a true friendship, you should build that kind of transparency and that like comfortable, like you should be comfortable to feel that way. And also to communicate your boundaries. I feel like I would never want someone in a friendship of mine, and this is something again that I've learned over time. So it's like to overcommit, and let's say they're having a horrible week, to be able to say, hey, like I know we said we were going to hang out today, but I just feel so overwhelmed. So like I'm sorry, but I can't make it today. Or like, hey, I'm just going through a lot right now. Can we reschedule for another day? Or instead of being like, dang, and like she always cancels, or like, dang, like, she always like doesn't show up, or maybe it's not an always thing, maybe it's like a once in a while, or like maybe it's a one time, but that person being able to communicate with you like, hey, like I'm really going through it, and you being understanding and being like, hey, no worries, like is there any way that I can support you, is there any way that I can be there for you? And if they genuinely say no, then that's okay, just let it be, and just you can follow up. But I feel like I have learned that over time, like to be clear of, and to not feel bad for like not being able to make it. My mental health, my boundaries are super important. Sometimes when you see other people that are always overcommitting themselves, most of the time it is a people pleasing thing, and they don't have boundaries. And I have been there so many times that I feel like now I'm like, I even to one of my close friends, I was like, hey, like I know that you're going through a lot right now, like are you still able to do this, are you still able to hang? And she was able to tell me like, no, honestly, like I need some time, or I need to figure this thing out, I'm having a very stressful week, but let's reschedule for another time, whatever. And then we were fine. But I feel like that's where I feel like you should be. Like you should be able to say those things, and that person not feeling some type of way, or not feeling like resentful. But this is like once you get to know someone fully and they're in that category of friendships. Um, and so, or even communicating, like when you call someone, being like, hey, I only have 10 minutes, or hey, I only have 15 minutes to talk real quick. Like instead of like, being on the phone for hours, maybe someone doesn't have the time to be on the phone for hours. So it's like communicating that. Another thing about friendships is making sure that you're able to be yourself. I have found myself in friendships where I feel like I have to be someone else. Like I have to like certain things. And again, and like you kind of feel like, oh, maybe if I say this, like they're gonna judge me, or maybe if I act this way, they're gonna judge me, but you're just being yourself. So I feel like in a friendship, you should feel like you can be yourself. You can feel like you can be fully who you are, corny or not, or loud or not, and that person accepts you and is not trying to change you, because they're your friend, so they love you just as you are. And that's the beautiful thing about friendships, is that usually a good friend is like someone that loves you the way that you are, that wants to see you grow in the way that you are, not trying to change or mold you into being what they want you to be. um so that's even with advice, like what I was saying earlier. It's like a good friend will listen, and sometimes you just want to be heard. So just let people vent, and not trying to change their actions or save them, because sometimes people don't want to be saved. But sometimes um, making sure that you communicate what you're trying to do when you are venting is very important. Also, someone that wants the best for you, that has no jealousy towards your success, that doesn't feel like it's a competition between you and her, that literally feels like I'm just as proud for you at whatever you're doing. Like, I'm so happy for you and genuinely wants to see you succeed. That if they saw an opportunity come that would be perfect for you, that they would refer you, that they would literally jump on trying to help you win, that they don't see it as a competition at all. So I feel like as adults, you have to learn to discern people's energy and what they're trying to do, like what kind of intentions people have. Um, Also, as a friend, I feel like you have to be trustworthy. So, what I was saying earlier about when you tell someone something very, very private, making sure that they aren't telling other people, and how do you usually make sure that they're not telling others is by be careful if they're always gossiping about others. It's pretty plain and simple, just making sure that if you're telling them something that you also feel that it's a safe place that you can say stuff. That's why you have to be very careful of who you tell stuff with, who you tell stuff to, because again, not everybody wishes you the best. Um, those are kind of the categories that I made. I definitely feel like if you are a believer, having Christian friends and having people that believe the same faith as you, that can encourage you, that can pray for you, that have the same morals and values is very, very important. That's what's going to help you keep on the walk, with Christ, people that have the same vision for life and, that are going to be able to encourage you and pray for you and you with them, that you're supposed to that you can grow in your faith is very, very important. But also just making sure that the people around you are going in the direction that you're going, because it's harder to pull people up than it is to be brought down always. So I feel like most of my friendships that I have made have been usually very random and organic over time, that you grow closer, and by being more intentional in that it's both people, that you feel like it's like both people want to be in the friendship, both people care about each other's lives. It's not only one way, because I feel like even in the category of friends, I also feel like I can also put another category of like you being a mentor to someone else. So you that's always giving, giving, giving of yourself, versus someone that's like a friendship is mutually, like you're both mutually benefiting from the relationship, like you're both mutually helping and making just life so much better for both of each other. So and that comes with honestly the expectation also that you put on the friendship. So sometimes we think that we're closer to someone, or we expect things out of people that they can't give us, and that goes into another topic of friendship breakups. Honestly, I feel like friendship breakups can be very, very painful, because sometimes you outgrow people, and it's important to know that it's okay to outgrow them, and that doesn't mean that you don't like them, or that you guys have beef or issues. There can be a friendship that just outgrows or like distance themselves, and there can be no drama. I genuinely feel like friendship breakups or people outgrowing themselves, maybe because of what they're doing, maybe they move somewhere else, maybe they're just not in the same paths of life anymore, maybe they just don't have similar interest, or maybe you had um just like different views on things, that you kind of like start distancing yourself, whatever the case may be. I feel like it can be the same as you just kind of like not maybe being as intentional with that relationship, but you still wish them the best, you still love them, you still support them from afar and cheer them on, like there's no problem. But I definitely feel like you have to know when that is, and you have to like let some relationships go. Friendships evolve and grow, they change, but they do require you to be intentional. You need to be clear of your needs and expectations of your friendships too, because it's just like a relationship. And when you're going through something, make sure to let people know how they can be there for you, because if you do not ask, you do not get the help you need. And you can say that they aren't there for you. Sometimes they just don't know how they can be there for you because you don't communicate. Um, and, having a friend is genuinely the best gift though. Like I would say that my sisters are my born besties, and we have been through so much together. But I have also had other friends that have come alongside me over the years that I am so grateful for, because they literally make my life so much better. They just I can laugh with them, I can cry with them, I can just do fun stuff with them. A good friend is someone that makes life better. They truly wish you the best and you can do just fun stuff with. So sometimes in relationships, your partner is your like best friend. They're your close friend, and they should be. You should have common interests, you should have common things that you guys like to do, have fun together, do fun things. But not all the time do they want to do the fun stuff with you, or not all the time do they want to have the same interests as you. And this is when having at least 1 to 2 good friends is very essential, or sisters, or someone that you can just do fun stuff with. Like, for example, like a few weeks ago, I did an aerial silk class with a friend, and it was so much fun. It was like hanging ropes from the ceiling, and we were literally dying laughing in the class because it looked so much easier than it was. It literally was the hardest thing. You just needed a whole bunch of muscles and upper body strength to be able to get on those that silk. So that class, for example, or axe throwing, something that I have always wanted to do, and me and my friends did it, and it was just so much fun. Just got all the stress out. I've gone on girls trips, I've done 6 a.m. sunrises, at the beach, watching the sunrise. I've gone to new food spots and coffee shops, I've gone to do my manicure, pedicure, I've done a book club and a Bible study with my friends. Watch a certain movie that I want to do. I've had accountability at the gym, and to pray, and to just do life with, and I feel like friends are truly a blessing. So like when you have a friend that you genuinely, sharpens you, that genuinely wants the best for you, that genuinely just makes your life better and lets you be you, man. Like I feel like that's so important too. Like just lets you be you, is understanding, is caring, loving, and just is there through those times. And even if the relationship evolves, because for example, I know that right now, as me being without kids, I'm not married, I'm not fully, like, I'm in my career, but I'm still figuring things out. I know that right now is probably a different time in my life than when I do have all of those other responsibilities. So my friendships, my relationships looks very different right now. But at the same time, I know that with friendships, it's like you should it might be a little, it might take a little time to adjust, but eventually you'll have a new rhythm to your friendship. Maybe that'll mean like, twice a month or once a month, of intentional time. But at the same time, it's like both people putting in the effort to try to make that friendship work. But it is so rewarding. And so, yeah, so I just wanted to share my thoughts on friendships. Friendships are important, and they are worth putting the effort for. They are the best, one of the best gifts that you can have. You can start by being a good friend, and that's how also you can get good friends. And let's say you don't have friends, and this is very, very important. It's starting by being a good friend and being intentional with your friendships, making time for them, following up, finding common interest groups. Maybe you're someone that, kind of feels like, I like these kinds of things, and I feel like nobody likes these things. Well, by maybe starting your own group, or starting, if you like reading, or if you like art, or if you like working out, whatever your hobby is, finding groups that like those things, I feel like is the first step too. So yeah, so I hope that this episode encouraged you and just gave you insight on what I think about friendships, but also how you can have friendships, be a friend, and just be wise with choosing your friends too, because you do have a choice on who you have around you and who you allow to be in that inner circle. Not everyone should be so exposed and so available, and you should not be available to everybody. That's not realistic. I remember my counselor said, you might not be liked by everyone, which is okay, but you will be loved by so many. Like, there's so many people that love you and that care for you. So focus on those people. There are people that like the same things as you, that have common interests as you, and that do want the best for you. So it's like, focus on those people, and those people will come also. And like, pray intentionally. If you have honestly been looking like for a mentor or a friend, there's still times that I'm personally looking for a mentor in a certain area, and I pray for that, and I'm like, God, this is what I want out of a mentor. And even as a friend, I remember I used to pray like, God, bring friends to me, because I literally felt like I didn't have friends. And over time, certain people started coming closer to me that wanted to do life with me. And so now those are some of the closest friendships that I have. So very blessed by them. And so I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast. Follow me at Elizabeth Sabi, and I will see you guys on next week's episode. Have a great week.